This episode of Help My Business is made possible by Infusionsoft, the world's leading marketing automation software, and today's letter is the letter M for magniloquent. Coming up on today's show, the Pompous pizza chef, how to make a great looking animation video online, and a big marketing lesson from Roberts Radio. I'm Andrew Locke, and this is the show that helps entrepreneurs like you to build a better business. Hello and welcome to the show. I was in New York recently and I used Yelp to find a decent pizza restaurant that offered gluten-free, since that's all I can eat now. Gluten-free, I mean, not just pizza. It was a French restaurant because obviously the French are known for their pizzas. I looked at the menu and I didn't really understand it because instead of using normal words that I can understand like ham and pineapple, most of the words were unpronounceable. Or maybe they just gave me the French menu because I look French. Anyway, the server came over and I pointed to the menu items that had pizza ingredients that I vaguely understood, and I asked her to add ham, please. Well, you would have thought that I'd asked for my pizza to be dipped in chocolate because I got a disgusted look from the server. "We can't do that," she said. "Why not?" I asked. "The chef won't allow it." What I wanted to say at this point was, let me check for a moment who's paying the bill here. Oh wait, it's me. But of course I'm far too polite to do that. Instead, I simply said, I don't understand. Well, it turned out that the chef won't allow any of his customers to, and I quote, corrupt the balance of his creations. Okay. I was not expecting to hear that phrase in a French pizza restaurant. Now, being the naughty chap that I am, I decided to push a little further to really explore this rule. And I said, will the chef allow me to have the pizza without cheese? Because I can't eat dairy products either. Yes, no problem, came the answer. At this point, I feel like I'm in the French Twilight Zone or something because I can't add an ingredient, but I can remove one. I'm really confused, I'm also irritated, and I still don't even know what the core ingredients of my pizza are going to be. I was seriously half expecting the snails and frogs' legs Neapolitan. So I wanted to ask you, who do you think was right in this situation? Do you side with the restaurant and agree that they should control all of the ingredients? Or do you agree with me that as the one paying the bill, I had a right to request something to be added to my pizza? Let me know your thoughts on this by leaving a comment below this episode at helpmybusiness.com. Now, before we move on with the rest of the show, I'd just like to take a brief moment to tell you about our sponsor, Infusionsoft, who makes it possible to bring this show to you for free. Before I started using Infusionsoft, my business was a real mess. And as soon as I changed to Infusion, it's really revolutionized my business. You see, Infusion manages things like your marketing campaigns. It also keeps track of affiliates. It handles all of the emails and, of course, the customer database. There's nothing else out there like it because it was built by marketers for marketers. Now, the friendly folks at Infusionsoft have very graciously offered a free demo so you can better understand how to use it to systemize your business. So I encourage you to visit the infusionsoftdemo.com, or you can click on the link right below in the show notes. And now it's time for your questions with Ask Andrew. This week's question comes from viewer Stephanie James from Montreal, Canada. And Stephanie writes, "Hi Andrew, I'm a sex educator for teens aged 14 to 17 in Montreal. I want to advertise my sex ed workshops to parents and schools as it's not currently taught in high schools, but I'm not sure where to begin. What can I do? Thanks in advance. You're an inspiration to entrepreneurs worldwide." Well, this is an interesting one, isn't it? I love the diversity of viewers that this show attracts. So I took a look at Stephanie's website to get a better understanding of what she's doing, and she's absolutely right that her two target demographics are teachers and parents. Now, of those two, the much better leverage would come from teachers because they have a wider sphere of influence. So how can Stephanie reach more teachers? Well, it just so happens that one of the members of my mastermind group has a very successful business as a school speaker. So I reached out to him on this question, and this is what he had to say.
Well, we travel the world working with school systems, primarily in the middle school, high schools. We're working in North America, throughout the United States and Canada. So we've actually dealt with this exact challenge over the years that Stephanie's having. And really it applies to anybody out there. And here's the challenge. You have to think about what the school's greatest fear is that you might do if they bring you in. That's really critically important, because if you're not able to get to their greatest fear of what you might do wrong, they're going to assume that it's going to happen if you don't address it, and they won't let you in the door because this is such a sensitive issue that can also send parents into an alarm status if it's handled incorrectly. So what you want to be able to do is think, what's going to be their greatest fear, and then go to somebody in the school who cares the most about what you're talking about. So you need to be talking to somebody who's talking about health, somebody who's talking maybe physical education, but somewhere in the realm where they're talking about good choices, about sexual decision making, you want to be talking to that teacher and saying, could I come in and work with your school and work with a few schools? You know, you got to build up a reputation, do an amazing job, and let them help spread the word for you. Key is make sure you work with, number one, Stephanie, people who care as much about your issue as you do, and there's those people in every school if you look close enough. Two, be ready for their greatest fears. If you look dumbfounded when they go, we can't do that because, you might not ever get another chance to open the door to that school to get in. You need to be prepared. So think about, what do they think I'm going to say, so I can say, you know, here's the good news. With me, I'm not going to do A, B, C, D, and E. I'm not going to do those things. Instead, I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3. And you knock out all the fears. And that way you create a safe environment for them to choose you. And for anybody watching this, it's a good question. Are you creating a safe environment for the person who's choosing to use your services to be able to buy them, to be able to hire them and feel safe and comfortable that I've made the right choice? This is going to make things easier. And that is the biggest tip. Second tip that I'll give you, the last one, is go to conferences where people merge together on the topic you care about most and present there. Even if it's a breakout session, wow them and remind them that you love going to schools. So they come up to you and go, well, could you come to our school? But make sure you mention somewhere while you're talking, for instance, if I'm at your school, so they know you talk to schools. And those two things can make a huge difference in building an education organization that has a major impact in schools throughout Canada.
And if you have other suggestions for Stephanie, please post your comments below this episode at helpmybusiness.com. As an extra bonus for Stephanie, she's going to get a free copy of my latest book, Big Lessons from Big Brands. It's 92 crammed chapters of marketing advice, which you can find at biglessonsbook.com. These days, it's really important to be able to make online videos quickly, easily, and to a high standard. Now, of course, there's all kinds of tools out there to help you, and one of the best online apps is Animoto, which you've probably already heard of. But there's another alternative in the form of stoopflix.com. It's a free service that works entirely online. To get started, click on the Make a Free Video button on the home page, and then browse through the various themes that they have to offer. As you hover your mouse over each one, you'll see a little preview of it, which is very handy. And when you click on it, a full-size preview pops up and it'll play the entire template. If you're happy with your selection, click on the blue Make a Video button on the right-hand side, and a new window will open up and you'll be prompted to import or upload a video or some photos. It's easy to drag each element around to put them in a different order, and you can also add a soundtrack at any time. When you're ready to see your masterpiece, click on the Quick Preview button, top right of the screen. And when you're happy with it, you can export your creation by clicking the Produce and Save button. You can make a standard definition video for free, and there's a small charge for high definition, which may be worth it to you, depending on how you're planning to use it. I really like the ease of use of StoopFlix. It's very intuitive, the videos look good, and you can't beat free, so it has my full recommendation. If you like this resource, don't forget to let me know in the comments at helpmybusiness.com, and if you're a fan of these nifty clicks, consider joining the community of fellow nifty clickers at niftyclicks.com. It's a members-only website with a constantly growing collection of little-known, undiscovered resources, and each one of those is explained with a helpful video tutorial. Just click the link below this episode in the notes at helpmybusiness.com to try it out. This week's big marketing lesson is from Roberts Radio. I came across this ad for Roberts Radio in a UK magazine called What Hi-Fi, and it immediately stood out to me. Just by the look of their product and the royal seal that's featured on the page, it's obvious that this is a premium product for a wealthy buyer. But the real magic in this ad is how they tell the story visually. You see, it's really difficult for anyone to connect to a product for the first time, but one way to do it is to tell a story. Everyone loves to hear a good story. Now for Roberts Radio, the story is their history. Look at how the ad introduces the story. It says, "From a small factory in London, financed by the sale of Harry Roberts' co-founder's motorbike, was born the most successful British manufacturer of portable radios. This year, Roberts Radio celebrates 40 years as a royal warrant holder." Brilliant! It instantly engages the right buyer. And then the lower half of the page continues the story with images. From 1932 through to 2015, we see how their product looked over the years, how it was used, and as we think about each time period, we're becoming more and more connected with this brand. This is a great example of using the power of a story. So how often do you use your story in your marketing? Sometimes it takes a little bit of digging to find the right elements to bring up to the surface, but it's well worth doing that process. Again, people connect in a much deeper way to stories than in any other type of communication in marketing. Don't forget to share your opinion about the French pizza restaurant. Do you agree with me that I had a right to ask for an extra ingredient? Or do you side with the chef, believing that it's wrong to upset the perfect balance of the creation? If you enjoyed this episode, please tell a friend about it. And one way to do that is to spread the word on iTunes. Leave a comment, which I would greatly appreciate. Join me again next time for lots more marketing lessons that you can use in your business. And remember, as always, everything is marketing and marketing is everything. And finally, here's your "What were they thinking?" moment. What were they thinking? At this American store, they offer antique tables made daily. See you next time.